So my name is Dr. Hubert, as I'm called in India. So I love this name because it's a bit funny. And as you know, we prepare students for tests and for applications. And so I've decided to invite Anze because today we're supposed to have a seminar, a webinar for UK-based students. Okay, I don't know if you have been in the UK. I know that Laura is from the UK. There are many others that don't see, and they seem to be more from India. And well, so that's my name. So as you know, I started on several times. I've written things, and we have a platform called mvcenterglobal.com. And on this platform, you can have information, interaction with students, experts, schools, test prep, and admission consulting. Okay. So Hamza, do you want to introduce yourself? I cannot hear you, Hamza. Maybe you have muted. It seems that you're muted.
Yeah, I'm muted. Hi, I'm Hamza. I graduated from Imperial College. I did a civil engineer degree. I'm a master's in engineering. I did 4 years at Imperial, and then I came back to Jordan to try different job experiences. I worked in accounting, sales, financial treasury as a teacher in a university in Jordan. And now I'm going to do a master's in management at INSEAD. And that's like the summary about me. I'm from Jordan also, I forgot to say that.
Yeah. Basically, I know our friend, I know Hamza very well because I was his teacher. So Hamza is one of our best students this year, okay? Why? Because he got accepted to all the schools that he has applied to, okay? So he got accepted to St. Gallen, to HEC, to INSEAD, to ESAD, and to ESSEC, okay? And of course, when we started, I thought that maybe Hamza will score like 660, 650. So I said, okay, let's try ESAD, let's try ESSEC. And little by little, we have improved on the GMAT, and we have finally been accepted everywhere. Okay. Ebze, can you take your camera off? Ebze, can you put your camera off? Because we see you. Hello? Ebener Yapo. Ebenezer, can you put your camera off, Ebenezer? No, Hamza, I need your camera on.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, Ebenezer, can you put your camera off? We see you in your room. So basically, Hamza has been a success story. And at the same time, it was a pleasure to work with him. So he has been a success story because being accepted to INSEAD, HEC, St. Gallen, that are the top three. It's like, you see, Laura, it's like being accepted to Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, and an MBA. Okay, so it's impressive. Okay, it's impressive. And I wanted to discuss to present Hamza because Hamza is for us is based in the UK. Alors basically, Hamza, why have you decided to basically the issue that I had with Hamza is that Hamza has already had 2 years of work experience, so I didn't know it would be good for an MBA or for an MIM. Okay, because I already had the experience of someone like him who, after some time was accepted for an MIM, for an MBA after 2 years of experience. Okay, yes. Hello?
Yes.
Yes. So what Hamza? So tell me, Hamza, why have you decided to go for an MIM? You already have you're successful in Jordan. You have a degree from Imperial College. You have a master in engineering. So why suddenly you have decided to do more?
So I didn't. So I wanted to continue in consulting or like something in banks, investment banking. And then a friend of mine connected me with Dr. Hubert. And then I started talking to him whether to do masters in management or masters in finance. Even we discussed masters in finance. Mm-hmm. We talked more about in detail about each program. Then he ended up during discussions. I understood from him how masters in management is a better fit for me and for what I want to do and what I like from my experience. Mm-hmm. So I decided, I'll do the masters in management to pursue like consulting in the Middle East or even for somewhere like McKinsey, Bain, a company like that's my next step. So I want to do masters in management to increase my knowledge in like finance because my degree is in engineering. So I believe I need like some more like knowledge in finance world, let's say, or business world.
Okay. So basically, that's it. Now, why has Hamza been so successful? I would say that first of all, because he had excellent grades from an excellent school, and plus, so we took the GMAT twice, and the second time we got a very good score. Second of all, he's international, and he comes from a minority because they don't have that many students from Jordan. You agree, Hamza?
Yes.
Then in terms of leadership hobbies, you have something, but it could have been better. Okay, why not? So in terms of professional exposure, let's say that he had a lot, but he had not been really in one direction. You agree, I'm saying? So what is interesting to see, maybe to say that how can you have a perfect result without being a perfect candidate? You agree? Because Hamza, he got perfect results without being a perfect candidate. Okay, someone who has 2 years of work experience, it's a bit a challenge for an MIM. He didn't have that many volunteering experience. Okay, still, basically when he did his degree, so he's a part-time teacher at university, and he interned in many organizations. Okay, we didn't find his way, but still, because we wrote something consistent, we made sure that the application will be good and the GMAT will be high. We have made his profile very appealing. Okay. I'll give you an example. For instance, here you have Laura. Laura, she has somehow a perfect profile. She's very consistent, top studies, woman, London, etc. She has somehow a perfect profile. Okay. Will we get the same results? Okay. Hopefully, yes. Okay. But so all that to say that what I'm going to discuss with you, and I'm going to write a blog about that, is that schools, when they select you, they say that the ideal candidate has to meet 5 criteria. Okay. 1, academic and intellectual. Second of all, professional. Okay. Third, leadership. 5, international exposure. Okay. And 4, international exposure. And 5, right fit for the program. Okay. For instance, I would say that imagine Laura, for instance. Imagine that Laura, for instance, wants to do for INSEAD. She's an engineer, okay? And she said, I want to become an investment banker. If INSEAD is honest, they will say, look, in 9 months of class, you cannot become an investment banker after having studied with us at INSEAD, okay? That's what I mean by the right fit, okay? And basically, when they tell you that, reality shows that it's not what we believe. So it means that if you can build a strong profile intellectually, you show that you're motivated. And for instance, in the case of Hamza, that you're also international and that you have the right profile in terms of communication, in terms of values, because Hamza is a very nice guy. You know, sometimes I give you like this, so I trade Bitcoin, and sometimes when I'm a bit lost, I call Hamza and I say, look, Hamza, I have a problem. And even when it's 2 o'clock, he replies to me. So, which is super nice from him. So basically, so all that to say that basically you all have your chance. Of course, Hamza is an outstanding person on certain respect. Okay. But his profile is not perfect. You agree, Hamza? The profile
yes,
is
true.
not perfect. The profile is strong, but
it's
not
far
perfect.
from perfect. Yes.
Okay. Still, he makes it. I would say that in terms of perfection, Laura has a more perfect profile. Okay, because she fits more into the scene. But at the same time, will Laura get the 720 required? It's another story. Okay, so it means that if you can build a strong profile in one field, okay, then it can be very successful. Okay, you understand the idea? Okay, imagine that, for instance, you say, me, I've been very successful professionally and very international and have a strong leadership, but my GMAT is not so strong. Right? Maybe that some school will accept you. Okay, this year, for instance, I got a girl accepted to IAC with a 600. Okay, IAC is ranked number 4 in the world. I had someone who got 740 and who just got accepted to London Business School, even though he was from Nigeria, he had good credentials, but probably it was not enough. Do you understand? So basically, I would say that the application process is something that is very complicated. Okay, that's why I want to have the full mastery of the process. Okay. I'm not like this organization that just do test prep or others who just do admission consulting. I see that it's so complicated that it's preferable that we have the full control of the process. You agree, Hamza? Okay.
Yes.
That way, that's what we have done with you. We have worked on the GMAT. What was your final score? It was 730? What was your
Yes,
final
730.
730. Okay. So of course, I work very hard for you so that you get the 730 and very hard on the application as well. So that at least, and that it reinforces Imperial College, your grades, strong GMAT, etc. And they will say at the other hand, okay, bon, the guy, what I've done for 2 years, okay. But at the same time, you explain that I've learned, I've found my way, now I know what I want to do, so why not? Huh? So all that, the lesson that I will say from Hamza is that build on your strengths. You're not perfect. Laura is almost a perfect candidate. Will she get Harvard? Will she get Wharton? I don't know. Okay. You can all build on your strengths. Okay. I see, for instance, famous Jen, Kwame Pierce. I don't know you, Kwame. Hello. Are you okay? But at the same time, you have to say, so very interesting this seminar because he told us that I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be strong in certain fields and reassure them. Okay. That's something that I want to say. So basically, I'm there. So you arrived pretty late because you joined us in March. Okay.
Yeah, end of March.
Which, by the way, was a problem for HEC, and we'll explain what happened with HEC because you have been waitlisted. And of course, I'm very proud at the same time that we have been able to do what we've been able to do with INSEAD. So basically, I'm there. So you had very little time. Okay. You started late March. Of course, that's also not something that we advise. What has been the journey? Can you describe the journey applying to that so that people understand what it is, that it's not easy?
Yeah, so basically, because I didn't have a lot of time, so I had to study like in 2 months for the GMAT and prepare the applications for like 6 universities. So each application is you can use you can use some of parts of the same applications, but then some universities have different small essays which were important, as Dr. Hubert explained to me through the process. Like they're essential, like the process, and then also your recommenders, you'd have to contact them early because most of them take like my professors at Imperial, it took them like 1 month to write it, which was really close to the deadline. So if you're planning, it's always better to have it to take it into consideration early, like the recommendation letters. And for the GMAT and the applications, and if you're doing a job, it's pretty hard, to be honest. Like you'd have to kind of stop your social life, which was easy because of COVID, to be honest. It wasn't really hard, but I had to go out less, meet people less. Like I had to focus on the university and like my applications and my jobs and internship more, which was tough. But then I had the private lessons with Dr. Hubert in the GMAT. This helped, made it easier for me to know where to focus. We started at the beginning he wanted to know where my weakness is, like what I'm missing in math, what in English. Like we found out we just needed to focus in the reading, the verb. Just the reading was the one we needed most focus on, and so the grammar, the reading comprehension was fine. So we focused on those 2 parts, and we were able to increase the grade because I never did GMAT before. And I think when we started, when I first did it with him, he told me I'm 630, 600 maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So no, I was a bit scared because I had a student from Imperial before.
Yeah.
He was not as good as you, but he came from a big family. And he only got 670. So I said, maybe I would only get 670, especially we had very little time. Okay, I knew that if we had more time, we'd do well, but in 2 months, starting from 600 to 730 is not easy. At the same time, Hamza is a very intelligent guy, so he was and intelligent, and he has a good mentality for tests. So it went fine. So basically, that's something else that I want to say. Okay, so normally people say you need to take time. Okay, so for instance, today I'm in Madrid. I've met 50 students yesterday. I will meet another 10 today because, of course, when I come to a country, people want to see me. And what I said to the students, I say, okay, you have to be well organized. For instance, you should take your test in mid-August. We have to take from mid-August to early October to prepare the application. and then the rest of the call to prepare interviews, Kira tests and interviews. And that's not at all what we have done with Amze because we did it at the last minute, but that's something that I want to tell you, especially there is a student here who has taken her time. I would say, don't take too much time. You have to be organized, okay, but don't take too much time, okay? Why? Especially for MBA applicants, because you may have other opportunities in life coming up, okay? And if you take too much time, you may lose motivation, okay? So if you decide to go for it, you have to be well organized, okay? You have to have, of course, a step-by-step approach. Step one, essays, test. Step two, application. Step three, interviews. You have to be methodical, organized, but you have to go fast because if you take too much time, you're going to lose your motivation at some stage. And there are other things happening in life. Okay, you see? So that's something that I would recommend. So basically, I would prefer someone like Amze who tells me I have to do everything in 3 months than someone who tells me I'm going to take 1 year and a half. I have students already, I had students, for instance, in class who tell me that they will apply for their MBA in September 2023. And I find that it's a bit stupid to do so early. Okay? So that's something I would say, be fast, don't take too much time because finally Amze, he was always busy. You agree? But imagine that you had taken 1 year. After that, you may say, look, Hubert, I'm a bit sick of this GMAT, you know, I'm losing my motivation. You don't agree?
Yes,
huh?
yes, it's
So
true.
It's
It's
good
actually
that
true.
you do it, maximum,
that's good.
test maximum 6-7 months. Otherwise, you agree because it's not very interesting. Okay, the essay part is interesting, I would say, but the other part, you know, the test is it's not fun to do test. Huh? You agree? It's not. You don't learn much. You have just developed some skills. Huh? What do you think, Amze? No?
Yeah, it's true. Maybe if more than I did like last 2 months, but I think more than 3 months would get too boring. Like I don't think, you'd lose interest.
Okay.
And you'd
Well,
stop
of course,
doing.
yeah. Of course, the
like
fact that we have done so fast and so late, okay, is not very good because, for instance, HEC, you should have been accepted very fast, easily, okay, and you got waitlisted.
Yeah,
You
and
have
then
been
accepted.
waitlisted for 2 weeks.
I've been already accepted.
Yeah, I know you've been accepted, but you had been waitlisted for like 2 weeks.
Like 2 weeks through, yeah.
Yeah, but imagine that you had applied in October, you have been accepted immediately. There will be no waitlist.
It's true,
So
yeah.
of course, there were so many students that it's okay, this guy is very good, but we already have so many that we cannot give him an offer. And then you receive your offer, you receive your offer very fast. Okay?
Yeah.
But strangely enough, we made a lot of mistakes. We applied late, but at the same time, what can I do? You contacted me late March.
It's true,
There was nothing we could do. Basically, there was this issue of the career that is where you have done many things without having a trajectory. Okay. For instance, to give you an idea, Amze, yesterday I was with 2 young, 2 girls who are in class with us in Madrid. We are going to start to work for McKinsey, August 23rd. Okay. They had a summer internship last year when they were 20 years old. Can you imagine? Okay. Now they're going to join McKinsey as analyst at 21. Okay, so it means that their profile is what have you done in life? My first internship, McKinsey. At 21, I joined McKinsey, and at 22, at 24, they will go to Harvard. Okay, so they are on time. Okay, so you have this type of people who have done, but I don't want to criticize because, as you know me, before going there, I was in the army, I was a sportsman, I did many things in life. So I think that it's good at the same time to have done things in life. Okay? So sometimes I'm a bit scared by someone who already knew what he wanted to do when he's 20, because I say, okay, at the same time in life, you need to experience things. You agree, I'm there. So you have been a professor, you have done many things in life, you came back to your country. So basically you have much more to bring to a classroom rather than someone who has done consulting and an MBA and basically always been in the same social atmosphere, the same social milieu. So basically we made 3 mistakes. Okay. Alors, so as I told you, the way we have done to fix these mistakes is of course an outstanding profile, but building strong GMAT, good application, and probably good interviews. So tell me, Hamze, what has been the most difficult part for your application?
Interviews.
Interviews. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not at ease with interviews. So basically, can you explain how interviews work in a business school? That there are two types of interviews. Can you explain how it works?
Yeah, there's the Kira interview where like the questions are already they're recorded, and then you have like 1 minute to prepare, and then 1 minute or 1 to 2 minutes. It depends on the question to response. And then the questions are it depends. St. Gallen, it was about the university, and then there was like a question about like more of a consulting question. Let's say it's like how would you calculate something, and the same with INSEAD. Like it's not just about the university. It has questions like just how would you react in a situation? What's your weaknesses? And then something about you, something about the university, and the question of how to see how you'd tackle a problem. And then the personal one, they get to know you more. You get to know the interviewer a little bit. That's for ISADE and INSEAD. Like INSEAD has Kira and personal interview. It's with an alumni or someone in the admissions, and you get to know them. It's easier, as you can like. For me, I felt it's easier than the Kira because like you can buy time. Let's say you can ask questions to buy time for yourself to. Like if you need to think about stuff, the Kira one, you only have 1 minute and then 1 minute response. It automatically starts. So I believe like the Kira is a little bit harder than the other one. And then for HSA, it was like admissions team. There was three members of the admissions like asking me questions about my career, some specific stuff about my admissions, about my stuff I did in my experience, why I wanted HSA. Specific stuff about HSA, why I'm interested. It was more about HSA and about my CV and resume and my experience.
Yeah. So basically, you know what I would say, what is very interesting is that the admission process has changed a bit. I would say the test part has changed a bit in that they've introduced home-based tests. Have you taken the test at home? I'm there, or you have taken it in the
home, both home.
So they've introduced home-based tests, which is a big change, okay, with online proctoring involving artificial intelligence. If you want one day, we'll explain to you how that works. And then, of course, the introduction of new tests. So, as you know, if you apply to a US program, you can also take a test called Executive Assessment Test, in addition to the GMAT or the GRE. But the thing that has changed the most in the last 2-3 years is the interview, okay? Because, when I started, interviews were given by a committee, okay? Or you will go to the school, or you go to the school, yes, somehow, or when they come to your country, or they will create like a hub where you'll have to go. For instance, one of outcomes, you have to go to London for the interview. So if you're based anywhere in Europe, so that's the way it has worked for a long time. Okay. And little by little, I've seen that the interview has changed. Okay. Now the first change, of course, was when they decided to ask alumni to interview. So for instance, INSEAD asks for alumni, HEC asks for alumni, LBS asks for alumni, etc. HEC MBA, okay. Basically, they started to ask the alumni to give a feedback. So that, of course, changed a lot. By the way, methodologically, it's a big problem because having an interview in front of a jury is not the same thing as having an interview in front of someone who is not really trained. Okay, so it means that for some of these schools, like for INSEAD, it means that the interview is not that important. Okay, otherwise you would do it in front of a jury. Okay, so just to get some feedback from students, but it doesn't count more than that. So that was the thing. So first development that one development that we have seen is the development of what we call group interviews. So of course, the champion of group interviews in Europe is AMD, but it has been also introduced by now by Wharton. And we know that more and more schools are going to create job interviews. Okay, so group interview, which looks a bit like the type of recruitment process that you can have in an investment bank or a consulting firm. And then 5 years ago, with the launching of the Kira Talent, that's what you have been through at INSEAD. Now you also have like a video interview, okay, that's going to analyze your performance and test you. Okay, so basically, I would say that the interview part has changed quite a lot. Okay, so for instance, to give you an idea. Now I'm writing strategy guide for the top best business schools. Before, I would have written like, I don't know, half a page about the interview, where I would say, okay, look, that's the way how the interviews work, have a jury, given some piece of advice, and maybe one page of most common questions that you will have in the interview, nothing more. But now, of course, we have to explain much more about the interview. So that has changed a lot. So basically, Hamza, what is the Kira test? People, they want to know. What is the Kira test that you had for instance? How does it work? What is the famous Kira test?
As I said before, it's like it's recorded, and then they record the question. It's 1 minute question, and then you have 1 minute. It's like there's a timer that starts. It's 1 minute preparing time, and then you have either 1 minute to 2 minutes to respond to the question. It's like pre-recorded question, and then the good thing is you have like practice questions on the before you start your real question. So as long so for me, I started it early, so I had time like to try different questions from the university. They have a big question bank. You can try lots of questions, and then you learn how to time yourself, how to always, because like at the beginning I'd like, let's say, talk more than I have prepared for, so I end up not closing, like giving my closing arguments, let's say, or closing my statement. So by practicing it through with Dr. Hubert and through the practice questions in the university, I knew how to like stick with what I prepared, and then always have a closing statement, let's say, at the end, and then try to like always focus on the time to like have enough time to respond and have a closing statement, because sometimes you get carried on while like talking and like
yeah. So basically, what happens? So basically, sorry. Okay, sorry. So basically, what I want to say is that basically normally on the Kira platform, because you know many schools use the Kira platform, normally they have 5 questions, you know, Imperial use it, you know, Inside use it, IE use it. So usually you have 5 questions, okay? So the first question is about why the program. Second question is about your career goals. And then you have 3 questions about yourself. It can be, for instance, a question about behavior, a question about leadership, a question about dilemma, challenge, okay, etc. That's something like this, okay? And of course, the problem that we have on Kira Talent is that the student has very little time to prepare. So it looks like a bit the TOEFL, if you have taken the TOEFL, the speaking part. And then you have to answer, well, so basically what we do is that we students, we spend time preparing, like we take like 50 questions, okay, and we prepare the questions. So the students prepare the questions and tells me how you will answer the questions. And then after that, you can use the Kira platform and practice. A bit like you practice on the GMAT. Of course, it's far less work than the GMAT, but you can spend like 1 or 2 hours getting used and accustomed to the format. Okay. So of course, it's very different from HR recruitment, traditional HR recruitment process. We cannot practice because Kira is an HR recruitment platform where people can store interviews. And business schools have decided to use an HR recruitment platform for their own recruitment because they find that it's cool and interesting. Well, that's the way it worked. For the other interviews that you had, they were usually in front of a jury. So when you have a jury, of course, they have read your application. It's usually more challenging. Okay. So what was the HEC interview like, Hamza?
it was like we had to wait for like 2 minutes, then we entered like to the committee, and then for me it wasn't really hard. They just asked about the resume, my experience, like they asked how they focused a little bit on my teaching, like why did I actually do teaching, why, because it was different than like it was the one
you're the only applicant was a part-time teacher.
Yeah. So they focused on it a little bit, and then they asked me how they wanted to know how I lead in class, how I treat my students, how they focused on that part. And then they also asked, at the end, they asked me if I had any questions, and Dr. Hubert told me to ask because it seems like I'm interested in the program more. And then I asked them about.
Then you have to prepare a list of questions, of course.
Yes.
Prepare a list of questions. So what is interesting as well is that you have to build your specificity. Okay. Imagine that you that you do something unusual, okay, or something that is OBE, and you have to bring them to something like this, so to say, to what makes you specific, okay? The problem is that most of the applicants that we have, they are quite standard for now, okay? They have basically a degree, they're in business or in engineering, they have been some time abroad, they work in consulting or in banking, they come from the upper class or upper middle class, so they are somehow pretty standard. So that's why if you can build a specificity, it's not too bad. Alors, people have questions. Laura, you have a question, so you raise your hand. So what is your question, Laura? Laura, you're on mute, Laura.
Thank you.
I thought that I was deaf suddenly. I said maybe one day it's going to happen that I become deaf, but it's not for today.
No, really. I think the sentence of 2021 is, Laura, you're on mute. That's the COVID sentence every time. So actually, I have this question. Before you mentioned that taking time means losing motivation. And I think that's really my case, of course.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned that when I saw you. I say maybe it would be time to speed up. Huh? Okay.
Exactly. No, and so basically my main issue is the GMAT score. And now that's the last round to apply for INSEAD. And I think I prepared everything. The only thing I'm missing is the right score. And I'm wondering if I should wait another year and get the right score, or if I should try applying and see if my only issue is the score, or
yes. Well, basically, normally that's not something that you should do, but for INSEAD, that's something that you can do. Okay? Because INSEAD is from the top school that I know, the only of the top school that I know in the world. I know you, Laura, that's why I can say. It's the only one where if your profile is good, they would ask you to retake the GMAT. Okay? If you apply to Harvard and there's something that doesn't go well, whatever, you reject it, full stop. And you never know, by the way, why you're being rejected.
I see.
At INSEAD, if they find that your profile is good, okay, it's better. But of course, the profile has to be good. But in your case, it is a good profile, because I know you. So if they believe that the profile is good, they will ask you to improve the GMAT, because in your case, your GMAT, what is your GMAT score? What is the breakdown? Can you tell me?
Yeah, sure. I think it was 650, and give me a chance to get you the right score.
Yeah, 650. So for instance, the lowest score that we got at INSEAD this year was 680. Okay. So
yeah.
So the lowest one, so you went from 680 to 750. Okay. So it seems that 650, they will probably ask you to retake the GMAT, and probably they will see that one of the parts is a bit weak. Okay. They will say, look, but try to be in the top 25% of the test. And I guess that the verbal part is strong in your case. It is the math part, or vice versa? I forgot.
The quantitative part is the weak part.
Yeah. Of course, it's an issue, because you understand that one of the reasons why they use the GMAT is to assess your quantitative skills. Okay. So for someone like Hamza, imagine that Hamza got a weak score, and so okay, the guy lack practice, but we know that he can make it. In your case, that's something that they're going to have looked carefully, and not the admission committee. You have to see that at INSEAD, basically they have that's something that they don't tell you, but from experience, I understood that, and they told me without telling me, is that basically there's an admission committee. So the admission committee knows what they're looking for. They also know what professors want. Okay. So sometimes they will, in your case, they will probably say, we want Laura. There will be probably a professor that will say, no, I have a problem. I veto, the GMAT is weak. Okay. So they will probably write to you and say, look, Laura, try to retake the GMAT. Okay? So you understand, Laura, we somehow know the answer. So why take a risk to send your GMAT score when we already know the answer that they will ask you to retake it? Okay? Me, sometimes I do that for some students who lack confidence, who don't trust me. They say, no, I don't believe that, that I will get, that they will take me, I'm not good enough, you're over-pessimistic, or you're over-optimistic. Okay. And it doesn't, and usually it works. But in your case, basically, I know you, but the weak part of your GMAT, of your application is the GMAT. Now, of course, you can always try, okay? But you see, Laura, if double were a weakness, imagine that you have a good, your English is perfect, you have worked in the UK for some time, they will say, look, okay, she got a 32 in verbal, but she has 50 in mathematics, she has worked in the UK, look at her Kira test, English is perfect, they will say, okay, fine, we don't mind. Okay, but the math part is something is a no-go in this type of school. Okay,
But if they ask you to retake
HEC, they will take you. HEC will take you. Okay. Maybe LBS, maybe, but inside it's clear that there will be this issue. The worst, by the way, would be that they say, okay, let's go. You will have an interview, and at the end they say, okay, the interview was good, but you are not totally convinced, plus the GMAT, whatever, and they refuse you. So it will be even the worst. Okay. Of course, if you say, I'm sick of it, I want to make a try, I want to take a risk, I say you can always go for it. Huh? Okay, you have very little to lose. Okay. But if you say, look, I can be patient, I don't mind. It's up to you. So there's a small risk. We already know the answer, but maybe they will say, oh, finally, it also depends on what you want to do after that. Of course, if you want to be an investment banker, if you want to work in management consulting, they can say, look, someone with 650, it's a bit weak. Of course, if you say, I want to be an entrepreneur, build my own brand in cosmetics, they may say, okay, wow, there's 650, it's not here to be an entrepreneur in cosmetics, we don't care. But that's really something that, what would I do if I were you? What would I do if I were you? If you're still very motivated, you say, okay, I go for it, I improve by 30 points because 680, and I have to improve my GMAT anyway. Or if you say, okay, I'm a risk taker, I send it. Okay, there's 8 chances out of 10 that they will ask me to retake the GMAT, and maybe 10-20% that it will work. Okay, I'm doubtful that it will work. Okay, but it depends how you feel mentally. Okay, if you're sick of it, it's okay. I go for it, and I will see what happens. Or if you say, look, I understand, I have like 1 month of vacation, I'm going to spend time on that, etc. I will talk to David Chambers. That's basically how you feel.
But if they,
in the case of Hamza, we had no chance. We had no chance. He had 2 years of work experience. It was this year or never. You agree, Hamza? So we had to apply. Okay, there was we had no way around. Okay, with a 600, with a 650, with a 700, with a 600, it would have been to ESAD. 650 would have been to ESSEC, and 730 was everything. Okay, so basically, but we knew that whatever happens, we were going to apply, Hamza. Okay, well, in your case, Laura, you have a great job. You're not like you're less than 30 or over 30?
Yeah, I'm 28.
28. It depends how you feel. Okay,
but if you don't pass,
to retake the GMAT.
But if you don't pass, can you reapply? For instance, for the intake of the next year?
What happens with INSEAD? They will say no. It's not what happens. Is that they will say, look, your application is good, but you need to improve your GMAT. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then they will put you in the next session. So you can say, what have I got to lose? Okay, maybe I had 10% chance of getting in. Okay, I knew that my GMAT 650, and if it works, it works. Okay, there are not many women. Honestly, you have a very good profile. There are not many women from Italy with your profile who are international. So for the rest of the profile, it fits very well. But it's interesting, you see, Andre, when we compare her profile to your profile, she's a perfect fit for the MBA in terms of, not in terms of personality, but in terms of what they're looking for, in terms of what they claim. Okay, but at the same time, she has the issue of the GMAT, which is a no-go. Now it depends how you feel. You say, okay, I have nothing to lose, and probably if I get an answer from INSEAD where they encourage me to retake the GMAT and they tell me if I get a good GMAT, I will get in. Okay. But as I told you, if you get a 680, Laura, you will get in. Okay, without any problem. I really know, because I know from experience that a profile like you will work. Okay, it's just a problem of at the same time, if I were you, I would take the risk. Okay, what have you got to lose? To the work, they will ask you to retake the GMAT, and to the best, it will work. But I think there's a good chance, 90% chance, that they ask you to retake the GMAT, and they say, okay, once you have so basically what they will say, they say, we'll start to process your application once you send us the new thing. So they stop the application process, they wait for the GMAT, and they reprocess your application. Okay.
Understood. Thank you very much. That's very clear. No?
So there was Mr. Jen who left. Okay, we are talkative. Huh? So there is, I don't know, there is Kwame Pierce. Kwame, you have an answer? You have a question for us, Kwame?
Not right now. I'm just absorbing everything. No, not right now. I'm sure I will, as I always say, but I don't have any currently. No, no, sir.
So in which program you want to apply for an MBA, executive MBA?
This would possibly be good. Yes. I would think in economics, preferably, would be the area I would like to go into.
But have you already identified a program? Have you identified a school already or not?
Oh, no. I just received a message on LinkedIn telling me about the webinar.
Okay, so it's a good thing. But you see, Kwame, the people who are here today are people who have applied to business schools. The people who have applied to business schools, so masters, MBA, maybe EMBA. I have, by the way, some students applying for doctorate, for PhDs or doctorates, okay, like BPAs, PhDs. I have 2 per year, okay? And by the way, it's interesting for me to work with them. There is there's a Tolulop food. Tolulop. So Tolulop, you want to talk to us, Tolulop? She left, she's too shy.
Yes, good afternoon.
Tolulop, where are you from, Tolulop?
Yes, my name is Tolulop. I'm from Nigeria.
Okay, we have very good students from Nigeria. Outstanding student from Nigeria every year. Okay, we have like 5 or 6. We'll probably get Harvard or Wharton or Stanford this year, so we score very high. Very impressed by Nigerians. From far the best from Africa. So, what could you say to Lulop? What is your question for us?
So basically, I've been in talks with Sandy and also another member of the team. Yeah. I'm looking at pursuing an MBA.
Yeah.
With either Stanford, but then, and also a host of other universities. So I joined this seminar just to at least hear some things and see how to put all of this in better perspective. Though I have, some documents that have identified my next step, which I will be working on.
Okay.
But I have not written the GMAT yet. I hope to write that.
Okay, so you have to take the GMAT, you have to identify. And so the problem that we have always with our African students, it's the financing, okay? Because currencies there is pretty weak. And contrary to what they do, there's not much help to LP. So you have to know that it's the financing is an issue. Okay, so you have to work on that. That's why I try to get like top schools, because to get, for instance, Harvard or Wharton and Stanford, they will finance your studies no matter what. Okay, but if you go to HEC, they will not pay for your MBA. So if you get Stanford, they will pay for the MBA. And for instance, this year I had a guy, Eromo, from Nigeria, who got LBS, London Business School, and LBS does not support students. So now we have to reapply so that we get Harvard or Wharton and Stanford, so that we get supported. And because what happens is that when you apply, we only had 650 on the GMAT. Then we have work on the GMAT and we got 740. So now we are more ambitious. So we have given up LBS, which is very strange, okay, to now apply to a US program, because we know that in the US, you will get full support. So of course, the first to get Harvard, Wharton, and Stanford and get full support, you need to be a very good student. Okay? So this student, for instance, Eromo, he got 740 on the GMAT. So of course, we'll be glad to work with you. So there's also Laura was there. So Pierce was there. Yeah, that's the new students that I know. The others, I know them well. So basically, Hamze, famous last word. What would you say? What would you advise? What would you like to say to our guests?
Like, for me to be optimistic when applying, like I was, you might get accepted to and get like higher than you expect in GMAT, and just listen to Dr. Ubert's offer. For me, like in my case, I didn't have any experience in the business applications. He helped me a lot, to be honest, and work for it. Like, it's not easy, but it's doable. Even if you have a busy schedule.
Exactly, yes. So nothing is impossible. Okay. You have read my last post about David. Nothing is impossible. The guy who is disabled, who had no money, personally bankrupt, and was finally been able to find money to study at HEC, and now was interviews with Goldman Sachs. Okay, so after that, nobody can tell you it's impossible. Okay, if this guy made it, disabled from the war, he was in special force, disabled, is dead now. No money, personally bankrupt because he bought a flat, someone deteriorated the flat and he lost everything. Imagine, no support whatsoever. Still, and with a very bad GMAT, still he has been able to get the HEC MBA, an exchange program with Chicago, and now interviews with Bushbrack and Bell. So second of all, as Hamze said, you have to be adaptable. Okay, you have to adapt to the situation. Okay, yeah, we started with SAD and ESSEC, and then at the end we refused HEC and Sangalan, which is interesting. And you have to be patient, and you have to be resilient as well. You see, when you apply, there will be success, there will be failure. Okay, you will not get accepted to all the school that you apply to. Very few people like Hamze. There will be some that will accept you, others that will refuse you, and you have to accept that. Okay, the admission is not a perfect process. Okay, especially when you target the top two. Here we are. Okay, no more questions. Kwame, Laura, Tolulope. You have a beautiful name, Tolulope. It's beautiful, like tulip. So it's very nice. Well, nice to talk to you, Laura. Don't hesitate to revert to me if you have any question. Maybe.
Yeah, actually, I had a call for Hamze.
I have a mass program.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Can I ask a question to Hamze? Just this question. For instance, in your process while you were applying for MBA.
It was applying for masters.
Masters in management.
Yes, sorry, for masters.
It's 22.
Yeah. Oh, you're very young. That's great. So for master, given that you are very young, what if you had received a great job opportunity in the meanwhile? Would you have still chosen to study, or?
I'm not sure, because if I had a great opportunity, I would not do the masters in management and I'll wait for the MBA. I'll just do MBA. Like, I want to do a course, but then if I had a great job opportunity, it would be like harder, because then I'd have to think of doing the job, then doing MBA, or do masters in management, then join. It would have been harder, to be honest.
I see.
Basically, Minora, what I would say that if you have been offered a great job offer, there will be others coming up, probably even better. Okay. By the way, it's a good news. And by the way, it may be a way for you maybe to postpone your MBA by 1 or 2 years, especially now maybe there's an issue with the GMAT. So maybe you say, okay, I will maybe apply more for like January 2022, January 2023, maybe it will give me more time to have like 1 year and a half work experience in the new position. At the same time, the MBA will bring you much more than a job. Now, don't take the MBA just as a job enhancer, but take it also as a degree that will develop yourself, that will increase your value as an experience. And this experience can be sold in many ways. You see, it's funny because yesterday I was talking to one of my students from Spain who has been hesitating. He's preparing the TOEFL, but he's procrastinating. He doesn't. It's taking time. Okay, I told him, remember people who were with you in class in January, February, they got accepted to LBS inside IUC, and you have not even taken your TOEFL. I was a bit mad at him. And then to convince him, I said, look, let's have a look at people who are at Atelier Center Spain and what they are doing now. Okay. Now look after 5 years, how their life has changed. And it's true that it's not just that they were like associate at McKinsey and they have become engagement manager, but it means that he was the guy could be like an engineer in the automotive industry with not much future because automotive industry in France. And now he's creating a bank in Hong Kong. Okay, you understand? It's not just like the guy has a better job. It means it plays in a different league. Imagine that Hamze, maybe in 10 years, you say, you remember Hamze? Yes, but now he's the general manager of the second largest bank of Jordan. Wow. Something like this, unexpected. Okay. For instance, we're talking of a guy called Jeremy Osseli. So Jeremy was my student. He was an analyst at Oak Point. The same thing as you, Laura. He got promoted before going to Chicago. Now he's the CEO of N26 in France and Benelux. And as you know, N26 is going to be IPO'd. So we are not mentioning that the guy went just one step higher. We say that he's in a different world. Okay, you understand? So the MBA, if I use the MBA in a certain way, because of course a lot of people don't do that, but the MBA can be a way for you to reach another world. Not just something slightly better, not just a promotion. Okay. Honestly, if you're just looking for a promotion, don't go for an MBA. Huh? You agree on that? Don't go for masters or for MBA. If you just want to be promoted, if you want to go from 80,000 euros to 100,000 euros, if it's enough for you, and you say it's my dream job, I know anyway my job is not important. But if these guys that I have, and I have enough, I had enough students to say that some of them, not all of them, okay, but some of them were ambitious, okay, they play in a different league. Simply, they are on the top of the hill, and the friends who are with them at school, they are team in the middle of the hill. Okay, what they do is incomparably higher than to the others. They are not just one step higher; they are 25 steps higher. Okay, that's something that you have to consider. But of course, that's something that you don't know before you have tested it. Okay, because for you, but you see, you will change. I would say that basically what these programs do, they boost your confidence.
Okay.
But you don't know yet, Hamza, because you have not started. But
I agree.
In some years, you say, finally, it changed my perception of things. So I thought to myself, now nothing is impossible. When I was a student, I thought that my career would be limited. And now I see that, okay, with some luck, of course, but nothing seems to be impossible. In fact, I have the network, I have the knowledge. I have confidence in myself to go. I'm surprised now, for instance, I took the example, for instance, I was talking to one of the students. I took example of 5 MIM students from London Business School. Okay, there was a girl. She was working as a senior product manager for Delvaux, which is a luxury brand thing in Belgium with no future. Okay, and now she's head of brand management at Amazon. She's not even 30 years old. Then there was another guy who wanted to be a lawyer, didn't work. He decided to go to LBS. After that, after LBS, he worked for A.T. Kearney. And now he has created his own network of animal clinics all over Belgium. It's going to help his company. You understand it's a different world. They play in a different world. They impress you. You understand what I mean, Laura? Just
yeah, it's perfect.
Just being a promotion is being able to say, I will have access to a different world. And of course, that's why sometimes I'm a bit surprised when some of my students tell me, oh, I'm a senior analyst at McKinsey. After my MBA, I will become usually that's what they talk, but usually after that, they become much more ambitious than that. They realize that we can do more than that. Okay.
Couldn't she connect to the admission team of INSEAD to, like, if she wants to feel better and talk to alumni of INSEAD MBA?
No, but she should talk to Michael Vort and Nancy Piacenti.
Yeah, they can connect her to alumni.
Laura, have you talked to the alumni? They will not really help her. But have you talked to Michael Vort and Nancy Piacenti? What has been their feedback? Improve your GMAT? No? What did they tell you?
I've talked to them in an event, so there wasn't really a chance to ask personal questions. I don't know if I should write.
Yeah, no, but
yeah. Maybe I should write them an email.
Because the advantage with INSEAD is INSEAD will spend time with you. They have admission officers, but they will spend time with you.
Okay, so should I send them an email asking for
Michael Vort and Nancy Piacenti.
Okay, asking them for the possibility to have an interview with them.
By the way, Hamza, you got a meeting with organized a meeting with you and Michael Vort.
Yeah, with Mike. He also helped me, because you told me to ask him about the Masters in Management and MBA. So he made it clearer for me with your help, of course, to connect with him.
But probably that's what he would tell you, Laura. He would say, there's little chance, you can always try. Because he will be more conservative than me. Okay?
Okay.
So
but do you think it's a good idea?
His job is not to say, yes, try, you have 10% chance, but what have you got to lose anyway? And anyway, you're not going to tell him, look, I start to be sick of this admission process.
No.
You cannot tell him something like this. But you can tell him, I've been promoted, I have to give an answer rapidly, and I have to see if I get INSEAD, of course I will go to INSEAD, otherwise I will take my promotion and I forget about the MBA. Now, of course, he will be probably very happy because you're a very talented woman, you come from Italy. There are not many very strong profiles from female profile from Italy, so they will probably take you. But then you can say, okay, I make a try, I have nothing to lose. Anyway, 10% chance I don't have to take the GMAT, 90% chance I have to take it. Anyway, I've made a try. Risk is part of life. Last question. What is the last question for you, Lupe?
Yeah, I wanted to ask that what are the chances of getting scholarship to pursue an MBA?
As I told you, the chances if you get accepted to Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, it's 100%. Because if you're accepted with one of these schools, they will somehow finance the program. They will have to. So the better the program, the more chance you have to have an internship, and especially the top 3 that I mentioned. And in the US, you're more likely to have a full scholarship than in Europe. It's almost impossible to get a 1% scholarship in Europe. Okay?
Thank you very much.
But we'll be happy to help you to look at it. Huh? Okay? So Laura, don't hesitate to revert to me. If you want, I can give you a math program. Maybe that's what you need as well. But maybe, yes, send to INSEAD. If it doesn't work well, let's work on the math program. Huh? Okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you very much, Hamza. It's a pleasure, as usual, to talk to you. Bye-bye.
Same. Thank you.
Thank you, Hamza.
Bye-bye, Kwame.
No
Bye-bye.
problem. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.